You want to Pavlov dog yourself?
Absolutely.
Are you Pavlov or the dog?
I am the dog.
Welcome back to the Beer Couch Podcast. I'm Cale Manning.
I'm sometimes Avi Zephyra.
Depends on the day and how he's feeling, but you're stuck with the two of us today. Avi, how you doing?
I'm chilling.
How was your week, buddy?
It was fine.
Get up to any crazy hijinks? Any good fun times with coworkers and stuff?
No.
No?
Someone got fired. That was last week, though.
Oh shit!
Was that last week?
Some in-office.
Feels like a month ago.
Some in-office hot goss.
Oh yeah, this person on. I hope she's not listening to this, but she got into a huge fight with my boss.
Oh shit! Yeah, you can't be doing that. That's unfortunately that's a good way.
Yeah.
But I think it is the Beer Couch Podcast, which means we should be having beer on this couch.
That's right. We got some beer today on the couch.
What brewskis have you brought for us today?
So today we have Highwayman, which, sometimes you're cruising down the highway and you see someone's thumb out and you're like, maybe I should stop for this person. And then it turns out that they kill you.
Mm-hmm. I hate when that happens.
Don't you just hate when you get murdered?
It's every fucking week. I feel like I just love bringing in people on the side of the highway and into my car.
Same, me too.
I think it's amazing that you and I have made it this far at this point, given our track record of bringing strangers into our homes. But so where's this brewski from? I gotta say, it's got a real pretty color to it.
So this is from RoadHouse Brewing.
Roid Rage Brewing.
This is from RoadHouse Brewing.
RoadHouse, okay.
All the way from Wyoming.
Which
is not a city, it's a state.
Okay. So those of us who are geographically challenged.
It's near the Dakotas. It's near Colorado.
So wait, hold on.
It's somewhere in between the Dakotas and
it's
Colorado.
like the northeast part of the state, I think, if my maths
it's in the Rockies.
Geography is correct. Dude, here's the thing. If you show me a map of the US, I'm pretty good at naming all the states, but I don't think I could geographically position where they are.
So there are these mountains and they go from Canada to New Mexico.
Are we sure?
And they're called the Rockies.
Are we sure about that? Are we sure?
Are you sure about that?
I don't know. I as two Midwestern boys, mountains aren't real.
I don't like mountains.
Yeah, they're.
When I first moved here to California, I was like, oh wow, mountains, and now I'm like, I wish it was flat everywhere.
I know, right? And then you don't have the hills, and then you can just go straight as opposed to having to worry about all these fucking windy fucking roads to God. What were people thinking moving here?
They were like, ooh, gold. Let's do a Hollywood.
Oh, that's true, yeah. And then we'll base the entire entertainment industry here, and I'm sure that'll have no long-lasting repercussions later on down the line.
No repercussions whatsoever.
But so these guys are from Wyoming, Jackson Hole.
Yeah. So it was founded by this guy named Colby Cox.
Cool. Oh, what a fun! That's a fun name.
Who went to Northwestern Business School.
I'm sorry, Colby. I'm sure you've heard plenty of this, but it's a fun name.
So Colby Cox got his degree at Northwestern.
Okay.
His master's, and then he
was
doing a real estate.
So you've done some deep digging on this.
He was doing a private equity.
Okay.
And then he was friends with this guy who was a chef.
Okay.
Out in Jackson, Wyoming.
Okay.
And so here he is selling these houses, doing the PE thing.
Nice.
And then he started brewing at home for fun.
Okay.
Then
as two people who are currently brewing at home for fun.
Oh yeah. We are brewers at home.
Clearly we are on our way to this level as well.
Oh, yeah.
It can only go up, as they say. But so he started this company with or this brewery with another restaurant
when
guy.
He started.
Are you
in 2002?
Avi's got his LinkedIn pulled up. That's where this podcast is at.
No, wait. Sorry,
LinkedIn
2012.
2012.
It was started. So it's a fairly young brewery. 12 years.
12 years. Legally can't drink, but still a good enough thing.
Should we taste the fucking beer?
Let's give her a try. Cheers, buddy. Let's see.
That was a nice clink.
Ooh. That's a good.
That.
Which one is this? This was a
Pilsner.
I do love a Pilsner. Yeah, I know. We've had a few of them on the podcast, and this one's definitely up there. This is a good drink. I honestly, here's a question, because they have the restaurant that goes along with it. What would you like pair this with?
Something with sauce. You dig?
What kind of sauce? Like a red sauce? Like a noodles? Are you thinking?
yes, with some
like marinara
and maybe some Alfredo. I feel like would pair nicely with this.
What am I getting? I'm getting like chicken tenders and like buttered noodles. That's what I'm going with.
The kids menu. This would go great with the kids menu.
Whenever I go into a restaurant, especially if they're serving alcohol, I'm going for the kids menu. That's where the best food's gonna be.
Yes, and you always got to go for the beer on the kids menu.
Yeah,
when you're ordering from the kids menu.
Honestly, no. I think I feel like it's a pretty typical assessment, but I would say that this, if I was like very seriously gonna think of like what this would pair nicely with, I definitely would want something like savory. So maybe like a good burger with some like good cheese on it, and I feel like that kind of route is what would pair really nicely with this.
Yeah, I could see it.
In terms of the flavor palette that
I could taste it.
You can taste that?
Yeah.
You can, so like take a sip of the beer, and then I want you to like envision biting into like the juiciest burger, right? Okay, so let's see. So let's get that ASMR sip. Okay, he's lapping the beer up like a dog. What was that like? What was that experience like to drink beer?
I can taste the burger.
Oh. Okay, so lapping beer up. What were you getting? Any different flavor palettes from that?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, what?
It was a little more bitter.
A little bitter? Was it because it's just all on the tongue? Do I try this now?
Yeah. Oh my god, your tongue is so long.
Don't, shut up.
The ladies must like that.
Don't. Oh my god. Don't tongue shame me on the podcast.
It's a nice brew.
It's good. And I think one of the other things that we do have to kind of commend this brewery for is that on their website they talked a lot about on how they are all about giving back to I forget what it was, but there was like they got like a rescue kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because
in Wyoming, in the mountains, people are stupid and they go out and hike and they like don't know what they're doing, so they get lost and they get stuck.
As a hiker, it's nice to sometimes go out and
it's nice to get rescued.
I've never been rescued once. Knock on wood. I'm going hiking tomorrow, so we'll see. Maybe, who knows, maybe tomorrow will be the first day I get rescued. But, you do have to commend. They're donating to rescue services and stuff like that, and they also are actually super interested in environmentalism and just trying to be like a carbon neutral. So they carbon capture from, I think, the CO2 that they use and release from the beer. They heat reclaim. And they are working like putting solar panels out on their spaces and stuff like that.
Wow.
So we do love a green brewing. I don't know if we've actually talked about this yet on the podcast.
What?
But
our green podcast?
Our camera actually happens to be run completely green. We run our camera on a battery, and I actually charge it with solar panels every week. Look at that. We save like maybe 5 cents doing that, but we're also saving the planet one little bit at a time.
One photon at a time?
Yeah.
Isn't it insane that light is neither a particle nor a wave? It's both?
Something in between. Is it light the one where they have like that, like, where they shoot it at the little like lines and it like always comes with like a different... What is that?
The fuck are you talking about?
Okay, so remember there's a science thing where they would like have like a lines and they would like shoot particles at the lines and the particles would be different
like
every single time. Was that the light, or am I dumb? Did I fail chemistry and physics because I didn't pay attention in high school?
All the above.
Okay, great. Perfect. I'm glad we settled that one. Now, I think, I want to know more about science and shit because I find that stuff fucking fascinating, especially like I will sometimes go on just like deep dive rabbit holes on Wikipedia, even though I don't like to talk about it. Space, so cool. What the fuck's out there? What's going on with that?
Well, if like the sun went out like right now, we wouldn't know for like 12 minutes.
I thought it was 8.
It's something like that. It's
we got that extra 4 minutes, so make them fucking count.
So like light is really slow, actually.
But here's what so do we think we'd like detect it on our satellites like 30 seconds before it would happen, or how quick do you think?
Oh, it would be like less than a second. Like the latency between
because if we
the
can
atmosphere and the surface is not very high.
See the satellites from here, I'm sure that's I don't understand distance. Would like the moon go out? Would we see the moon suddenly go dark? Like a lamp?
Like at night?
No. Like,
or in the daytime?
If the sun went out.
Yeah, if the sun went out, we wouldn't see the moon during the day.
But
are we
like,
talking about nighttime or daytime?
Well, you know how you can see the moon sometimes during the day? Mm-hmm. Would it like flicker out like a light switch and you're like, oh shit, what was that? And then the rest of the world would go
Yes. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. What is yeah, so I guess this was something, so we always talk about like film and stuff like that on this podcast because obviously we are both film industry people, but like outside of film, what is like, would you say your biggest thing that you're passionate about and that you enjoy doing?
Urban planning.
Urban planning, okay.
I have thought about this for quite some time, and if I were to completely change my career, I would go into urban planning and civil engineering.
Why urban planning?
Because I think that the way cities are built and the way that communities are built affects pretty much everything about our lives.
Yeah.
And yeah, America is a car-dependent hellscape.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, from everything I've heard from like friends and stuff like that, people who like live in Europe and stuff like that, they are so, like where cities are walkable.
What a concept.
Which is such a fucking concept. And I mean, obviously being from LA, we are both very familiar with the traffic issues that exist here and stuff like that. But like, what would you say is like one thing that you could fix if you had to like say I'm a magical genie and I came to you. I'm the genie of urban planning and I'm like, Avi, you got one wish to like fix or change one aspect about Los Angeles. What would it be?
Make the roads smaller.
Smaller? Why smaller?
Because when the roads are wider, it encourages people to drive more.
Okay.
Right? So you have more volume of cars. Yeah. Which leads to more traffic. So by making the roads smaller, ultimately less people are going to drive. Okay. Which is going to lead to over time less congestion. And the skinnier roads are and like the less the slower people drive on them, the much safer that they get. Right? Because the reason why people drive so fast, even like beyond the speed limit, is because the roads are so wide. Yeah. And like comparatively, of course, the sidewalks are tiny. So as a pedestrian, you're at a huge risk of just getting plowed into. Yeah, unfortunately. I've seen it happen a few times. Literally in front of me. It's horrible. Yeah, it's awful. But I mean, so make the roads smaller. That's my one wish. Make all the roads much smaller. So demolish the freeways too. Okay. So we're getting rid of freeways and making roads smaller. And then would that like, because I mean, I don't know how far you, but like I have to drive, I think 22 miles for work, and I'm basically work like right by the airport. So I'm on the 405. Look at us using our cool Los Angelino terms, but I take the 405 down to work. What so like I think that's 4 or 5 lanes right now, maybe. What, the 405? Yeah. So imagine no lanes. So, hold on. I think the 405 is like 4 lanes, and then it's got that one. Was it the fast lane or the side? The HOV lane. Yeah. What? So replace that with a bus lane. Okay. Just have a dedicated bus lane that cars get fined if they go in, and then you'll get more people on the bus because it'll be much faster to take the bus than to drive. Got it. Okay. And also, like, you know, have proper security on the buses so people aren't like getting shot. Like I read this story the other day that someone like hijacked a bus and like went on a little joyride. Oh my god! What? So how did they hijack this bus? They just pulled the driver out of the seat. Oh my god! Started they wove. Is the past tense of wove? I think so. No, it's not. They waved a gun at they flashed the driver with a gun, and then they stole the driver's seat. Holy shit, that's crazy. I mean, I think for me personally is why I don't use public transportation out here. Because of safety. I have a car, and safety-wise and stuff like that, because it's like, I'm going to work, sometimes I need to bring like electronics and stuff like that with me, and I don't want anything to happen to it, obviously, but like, do you think that like proper urban planning could actually
solve a lot of those crime issues, or do you think that that's more of a systemic issue with California?
Well, I think that the crime really comes from like gangs and poverty and like these cycles that haven't been broken. And like short term, there really needs to be more security and more, unfortunately, like more policing of transit. And
got it.
The only way more people are going to use it is if it gets safer, and the only way it's going to get safer is if more people use it. So it's like a impossible situation 100% to fix, unfortunately. Yeah, it's like I compare it a lot to it, and I think it's probably better than CTA.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but in Chicago, like their transit system has gone way downhill because after COVID, way less people were riding, which means less revenue for the system.
Yeah.
And so they stopped running as many trains and buses, which ultimately leads to less people riding because everything is late or takes too long. And then less people riding means it gets more unsafe because there's more crime happening, less people around.
It makes people who are on their own like easier targets and stuff like that for criminals. I mean, I know me personally, it's like when COVID happened, I moved back out to the suburbs with my parents and stuff like that. So the only line I was really using was Chicago's metro line, and basically I would take it into the city for school mostly, sometimes work, but given that I was working in the suburbs in Orland Park and going to school in the city, it was like I was either driving or I was taking the metro train, and I would just walk from Union all the way to Columbia where you and I went.
So, and like why would you choose to take the train over driving?
Honestly, it was a lot more convenient, and then you could get work done on it as well, which I always thought was really nice. And I do miss about Chicago because I worked downtown at a really great business events company, like nicest people ever. Like love them to this day. They are like one of my, I think, the best work experience I ever had. But I unfortunately, when COVID happened, they downsized, and I was just an intern, so they were like, we can't really do anything with that. But when I was there, it was like I would either go to I would get into Union, and then because I'm such a big walker, I'd basically just walk to where I needed to go in the summer, and then when I was going to school and stuff like that, I'd hop on the Brown line, and then I'd take it a few stops to get closer to them because they were kind of near Millennium Park in that area. So
if you were doing all those little trips by car, you would end up spending like way too much money on parking. You'd be like sitting in hell traffic.
Oh my god, exactly. And I mean, that's the thing too, is like, especially being like a college student at the time, at least like taking the metro, it was, I felt safe to like take my laptop out and like do work. And Union Station was like nice enough where it was like, you sit by that like little Starbucks area, you get a coffee, and then you do your work there for like the little like hour, 20 minutes that you're like waiting for the train or when your schedule is. Can you not rub your butt on my microphone, Yumi? Thank you. But I wish I had that, because now it's like I feel like there's so many things outside of work that I want to be able to work on and I want to be able to like invest my time into, but it's hard to do it because I'm sitting in traffic for 90 minutes sometimes coming home.
And like, I mean, in a perfect world, you would not have to commute as far.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But you do commute very far.
I commute way too far.
Is it like 20 miles one way?
I think it's 22 miles there and back.
Okay. It's like 11 miles, really?
No. Like 22 miles there and then another 22 miles.
Right, yeah.
So I'm like driving 40 miles a day, which is, I mean, it's not bad when it's like not traffic. Like honestly, in the mornings, because I start work really, really early, it's 30 minutes to drive from like here to the airport, which is crazy, but it's like also 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So
no one's on the road.
No one's there. But once like, the day starts, because I mean, that's the other thing too, is that like for people like me who it's like, unfortunately it seems like even if there was like a working public transportation system, driving would kind of be a necessity for where I have to go to.
Yeah.
It enables the people who don't necessarily need that to now get off the road and allow people who it's like, you kind of have to do that.
I mean, your office is like particularly in a completely not transit accessible place.
It's in like a food desert too. I was talking with a few coworkers and we're like, every time one of us wants to go lunch, it's like, where do we go? And we're like, there's like a taco stand in front of the Home Depot, and like
that is your only option.
Yeah, there aren't a ton of options.
I'm sure they're great tacos.
They are pretty good tacos. But yeah, that's the funniest thing. That's a good question. Have you ever heard or played that game? What is it? It's like City Skylines, or it's like the city planning. I've watched
a lot of City Skylines.
Have you ever tried it?
No. Actually, no. I have. I had it on the Switch. Yeah. But the Nintendo Switch is not a very powerful system. So my city got like a little too big, and then the whole Switch
shut down.
Yeah.
How well functioning was your city?
It was not super well functioning.
Oh, jeez. I've been actually thinking, I'm like, I kind of want to get that game because I don't know if it's like an interest in it, but I'm a fan of video games and stuff like that, and I've been kind of wanting to try that one. So I really want to like do a sit down session with you and just let you with your like expertise on this or you like interest and stuff like that, and just see like where you run with it.
Well, I mean, I think my biggest complaint with LA when I first got here, and also just like what I think is what really makes a city a better place to live, is densification. Which is just like build upward. Okay. And like it doesn't necessarily mean like every building has to be a skyscraper. It just means you make the lot sizes smaller, you put things closer together, you make everything closer together so that people can actually move around the environment through walking or biking, or just it doesn't take forever to get everywhere you want to go.
Yeah. But I guess the counterpoint to that is that every time that I've gone into like a very dense urban area and stuff like that, I mean, obviously like the downtown area here, and even to an extent Chicago, which I think is a very well laid out city, but in some areas it can urbanly be a pretty dense environment.
Oh yeah.
I always feel like when I'm in that area, and I don't know if it's a byproduct of me being raised in the suburbs, but I always am like, it's just too many fucking people around. I just need to like maybe get out. I just need my own personal space. I need my own little bubble.
Yeah.
I need to fuck off to the woods and just not talk to anyone. Do you think that like dense urban environment, everyone on top of each other, could lead to people possibly being like, more mentally not maybe depressed or just not happy because they're stuck with just so many bodies and people around? I mean,
I think it's really important that there are places where you can escape and get away. And it doesn't mean that every single area has to be like super dense and everyone on top of each other. Like there needs to be more parks. Yeah. Right. We have a few parks here in LA. Not as many as some other places.
Calling them parks is like such a stretch. They're like,
a lot of them are like rec centers.
They're like inroads. They're like not even parks. Yeah. And plus too, it's like, given the like, what is our climate out here? Arid, maybe?
It's called a semi-arid climate.
Yeah, it's like everything here is so dense and dead, and just like that like kind of brownish dried grass kind of. It's like I miss the like lushness of nature. Like I'm so excited. I know you don't like them, but I'm so excited to go to the mountains and just kind of like be in an area where it's like it's quiet and it's like expansive, and you can just kind of like hear everything and just like, I don't know.
See, I think I'm either like a freak or just something's messed up in my head, because I like
those wires isn't clicking.
I really crave like extreme levels of stimulation.
Really? Okay.
Like I would much rather be in a very loud urban environment than anywhere quiet.
So you've spent like way too much time on your phone, is what you're saying.
I think my phone has broken my brain.
Oh my gosh, you've brain rotted. Too
Absolutely
close
hate
to the
it.
sun. What's your favorite brain rot symptom that you experience?
Not being able to focus on anything for more than 5 seconds.
Yeah. Isn't that like a legitimate thing where people were like, what, do you have the like attention span of a goldfish? And now it's like, yes I fucking do. Yeah. It's like, I think their like attention span is like 8 seconds. And like now ours is like shifted to like 5.
I listened to a podcast that did a study on office workers, and so they studied these office workers over time, and their attention spans, I want to say in like the early 2000s or like decades ago, was somewhere around like a little over 2.5 minutes or something like that. Mm-hmm. Not the best, not the worst.
Yeah.
But now, according to what I heard, the average attention span is around like 42 seconds.
Holy shit.
Which is just the most grim thing I've ever heard.
I mean, like, I guess my question is, like, what do we think that's a byproduct of? Because...
Social media?
Social media, for sure. I mean, like, I think that, like, short form content, admittedly, like TikToks and like reels and like, you know, people who for some reason, you mean quit fucking with the mic, people who make you know, podcast clips, which God, I don't know who in their right mind would do that. But I think like seeing those like short form content things and like, you know, where it just kind of enables you to like turn your brain off and just scroll and get that like little like dopamine boost, like that's to me I think been what's really fucked it for us. And I think it was just this perfect storm where it's like, I'd be curious to see what the science is like pre-COVID and post-COVID, because I think that our attention spans were actually probably better before COVID. That's and then after everyone gets locked in, can't do anything except scroll on your phone for like 3 hours a day. And it basically just enables this like brain rotty like TikTok. I mean, like perfect storm. It came out and like blew the fuck up right as the pandemic was happening. And everyone was on it. And I feel like so many people got addicted to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I managed to avoid the TikTok craze, but now that Instagram Reels have gotten a little bit too much of a hold on my life, I'm a little concerned. Avi, do you want to talk about how many Reels I've sent you?
I had to mute your chat, which I told you that
I know. I think I watched you do it.
Yeah, every now and then, I'll click on your... I'll watch the Reels you send me, and sometimes I just like, what the fuck is this? Why would anyone put their time into making this?
Dude, honestly, some of them are pretty funny, I won't lie, but I think I personally probably spend way too much time. I need to like get those timers on my phone, so that way it like kind of enables me that I can only look for X amount of time before it's like, dude, chill the fuck out.
Here's the solution that I'm interested in trying out. Shock therapy.
I was gonna say,
like anytime you get distracted, just
they do have bracelets.
Shock yourself.
Have you seen this? They've got bracelets actually that will like shock you when you like spend too much time doing something, or when you do like one specific habit.
But I want something like totally voluntary. Like as soon as I realize I'm getting distracted, just shock myself, and then eventually I'll train my brain to just not get distracted.
God, what is that? It's like the it's like the Pavlov's dog or something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
You wanna Pavlov dog yourself?
Absolutely.
Are you Pavlov or the dog?
I am the dog.
Or both.
No, we're the dogs.
We are. We're just a bunch of dogs, and with that, we're a couple of dogs on the Beer Couch podcast. We're your yeasty boys. I just want to thank everyone for watching. We've had a really good time catching up and just shooting the shit. And if you like this wait, hold on. If you like this new style, let us know, because Avi and I are trying to be a little bit more chill and all that fun stuff. So like, subscribe, comment, do whatever it is you got to do, and we'll see you in the next episode. So cheers, Avi.